Hello, and welcome to Writing Tips with Rachel. Today I'm offering my tips for writing about hard topics. I write about a lot of hard topics in my books because I've lived through some hard topics: parental addiction, abuse, disordered eating, mental illness, trauma, on and on it goes. You write what you know, right? But we don't want our stories just to be about hard topics, especially when we write for kids. They're hard for readers to read about. They're also hard for us to write about. So, how do we make those topics more palatable for readers and less agonizing for us to write about? First, let's examine what we can do for our readers. Number one, write it in verse. Novels in verse leave space for readers to meet the author on the page. That's what poetry does. It leaves things up to interpretation. We don't have to explain every single detail. We can let the poetry hide some things and reveal other things. My first book, The Colors of the Rain, is a novel in verse, and it addresses parental addiction and death, as well as racial issues in 1970s Houston, Texas. I wrote it in verse because I knew those were hard topics. It's a beloved book for many. Number two, sprinkle in humor. Obviously, this won't work for every story, but when you can, embrace humor and silliness. Making readers laugh and cry is a feat I strive for in every book I write. Characters can have a funny personality or humor they share on the side. You can add a funny sibling or a funny animal or a funny friend or a baby. They're hilarious. Adding in humor helps balance out the seriousness of the topic and provides much needed relief to the reader. Number three, find an unusual format that works and/or break the narrative rules. One of my hard stories, The First Magnificent Summer, is told in journal entries, so we get all the inner dialogue of the character. She has a very funny voice and personality. She's not just preoccupied with the hard thing in her life, she's examining all of life. We don't have to write straight narratives. We can jump around, do what's best for the story. Let the main character take some thinking detours that lighten the mood and examine something other than what's going on in the narrative. A memory, or something that has a happy feel or a funny tone. This is another way to provide relief for readers. And for the writers writing these hard stories, here's what I suggest. Number one, take breaks when you need them. It is okay to step away from your story if the subject matter starts bringing you down. I wrote a story about a character struggling with suicidal ideation. I've wrestled with that throughout my life. I had to take frequent breaks and step away from things for a bit. Sometimes write on another project entirely. The story will be there when you get back. You don't have to push through. Some stories take years to write, and there's nothing wrong with that. Number two, keep connected to your people. When writing stories, we can often get immersed. When we're writing about hard topics, that can be a strain on our mental health. People keep us grounded. They keep us remembering why we do what we do. Sometimes it helps to talk to them and unplug and hang out with them. They can help light the dark. Number three, take care of yourself. I highly recommend therapy, of course, especially when you're writing about something hard that you've experienced in your own life. Many of my stories I've written while in therapy. Make sure you're eating well. Never underestimate the power of a good, nutritious meal. Get enough sleep. Exercise. Journal about your experience with your hard story and the memories it brings up in you. Write something easy or happy to balance out the difficult story. It might take us a while to write about those hard topics or to even find the right way to write about them. One of my stories took 5 years to get down on paper. Don't rush. Take your time. Give yourself space to get it right and be all right. That's it for today's Writing Tips with Rachel. I hope this video has been helpful to you. I'd love to know any suggestions you have for writing about hard topics. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for videos about books and life and more videos like this. Thanks for watching.